So I just got the phone, had a pretty interesting conversation with somebody. They went to a gun shop in Virginia, and they were referred to a training company to do their Maryland concealed carry class, their 2-day, 16-hour class, and they went to it. It was somewhere in Maryland, and then, by the way, it was supposed to be 16 hours. They said it was not. It was maybe 14 hours, and one of the interesting things that they said was part of their 14 hours they did was to drive about 30 to 45 minutes across the bridge into Virginia to go back to that gun shop to shop around and look at guns and look at ammo and look at this and that for, a half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour at the most, let's say, and then drive half an hour, 45 minutes back to the classroom location. So let's just do the math. Let's just say that it was a half an hour drive. Let's just say they only spent a half an hour at that gun shop, and let's say it was only a half an hour drive back to their classroom. All right, so an hour and a half minimum of their 14-hour class that is supposed to be 16 hours was spent going back to the gun shop that referred them to this class to spend money. All right, look, I appreciate all the different gun shops out there that, refer people to my classes. I really do. I refer people back to them. But I don't do just a 14-hour class. And I also don't give you an hour and a half to 2 hours credit for driving to one of these gun shops that refers people to me and shopping with them and coming back. That's not training. That's not training at all. That's not what you paid for. That's not what you expected. And that's not what's required of you. And when this finally gets out there and the state police find out about this and they look into it and they pull that instructor certification, they're also going to pull anyone that trained that instructor and pull their permits too. And now, because we've seen this happen before, we've had students come to our classes because they had to get their class redone. They got their permit was put on hold by the Maryland State Police, and they were given anywhere from 35 to 40 days to go out, get new training done, a full new class done by a competent instructor. We give them that training, then they got to get that training documentation back to the state police, and then they have to take the hold off of their permit. If you want to have that happen to you, if you want to spend the money twice, because by the way, do you think they got their money back from that instructor that did the half-ass training and then had to go out and get their training again, the full training from somebody else? Do you think that initial instructor, that original instructor, gave them their money back? No, they didn't. So not only did they lose out that money, but they lost out that time spent at that original training. And they had to go out and get competent training from another instructor, having to be myself in those cases. All right. Well, just like I teach my kids, if you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it a second. So I'm not out here to tell you who that company is. People will find out on their own. I'm sure some of y'all watching this already know exactly who I'm talking about because you have been through that class. You have taken their training. You have driven to that gun shop and you have spent your time there and driven back and only did a maximum of 14 hours of training. All right. Not only that, but like outside of that case, I hear that there are a ton of companies that are in Maryland or around Maryland that do this 16-hour class, and then they don't even practice. They don't teach the people how to draw and reholster, and they don't even practice it. Some of these companies that are out there, they are doing the range portion where the gun's laying on the table in front of you, and then they tell you to shoot. You go and you pick it up, you shoot, and you lay it back down at the table in front of you. How does that prepare you to conceal carry a gun? If you've ever been to my class, and we have thousands of people that I've trained over the years, they can vouch. When you come to my class, I teach you how to draw and reholster. I show and demonstrate it, on end. And not only that, but then I practice with you. You practice step by step. We build up. That's almost 2 hours of our class of practice, going over and practicing drawing and reholstering and how to do that safely. Because guess what? When we go to the range, you are drawing a loaded handgun from concealment, you are shooting that gun, and then you are safely reholstering it back in your holster, preparing for the next drill. You are qualifying, you are training the way you're going to do it in real life. You're practicing how you may have to do it in real life. You are drawing a loaded gun, you are firing it, and you're reholstering. How you can skip over all that and think that somebody has been adequately trained to be able to conceal carry, to safely and effectively, do that. I don't understand the thought process, but I'd like to hear from you guys. And I don't want names. I'm not here to slander, which is not slander, it's actually true. But I'm not here to build myself up by taking someone else's name and throwing them mud that they absolutely deserve on them. And so I don't want you to do that either. But I do want to hear in the comments below, what has your training experiences been? Did you even learn how to draw on your holster? Did you ever practice that? Did you qualify that way? Or did you even go to the range, by the way? Because there's a lot of companies out there that don't even go to the range, which is required. It is required. I'm very curious because I don't understand, what goes through people's minds. I would particularly be doing that even if it wasn't required. I'd be doing the shooting portion if it wasn't required. A lot of people, you'll see that we do the HQL, Handgun Qualification License course, required by Maryland law in order to apply for your HQL, in order to buy a handgun. And you might see that it's only required to be 4 hours, and you only have to shoot 1 round, which again, there's companies that skirt that. They only do like an hour class, and then, oh, you've shot guns before? Oh, hey, you don't need to shoot. My class, when you go to my HQL, and you can go on my website and see, what you do at my carry class is the same exact thing you do at my HQL class. It is a full 2-day class, and it is hardly ever 16 hours. My class is usually closer to 18 hours, all right? Sometimes it's a little less than 18, sometimes like 17 and a half. So my class needs to be 18 hours because we have so much information to pass along to you. We have so many hands-on things to do with you. We go in hands-on wise. We are drawing and reholstering. We are disassembling and reassembling guns. We are cleaning them. We're getting hands-on with firearms. And there's so many companies that don't do that. That I wouldn't even say do a bare minimum class. They don't even do the bare minimum. They are just skirting the law. And some of these instructors are actually in jail. There's actually, I believe it's a Baltimore City police officer that in recent years has gone to jail because all he was doing was, oh, yep, $100. Oh, thank you. Oh, here's your paperwork. And there are people that do that still to this day, even though they know that the Maryland State Police investigate these type of people and then prosecute them and throw them in jail. I just don't understand it. It kind of gets me worked up and stuff when I hear these people, the situations that they go through. I talked to one guy last week. He said he was in the Waldorf area, saw some type of vehicle, it had advertising all down the side, had the guy's face planted on the side, and concealed carry this, and he called the guy, and the guy was talking to him and stuff, and then he's like, yeah, I want to sign up for your class, blah, blah, and the guy was like, you know what, you sound like a cool guy, have you ever shot a gun before? What's your experience with guns? He's like, well, yeah, I've been out on the farm with Granddad a few times, I own a handgun, this and that, and the guy's like, you know what, look, hey, just sell me the money, and I'll go ahead and send you the paperwork. Actually, let me take a step back. He said, sell me the money, go to the Charles County Sheriff's Office, get your fingerprints done, send it to me, because I believe part of the deal was not only that he was just going to not do the training, was going to give him the training documentation, but that he was going to do his application for him. So he charged this guy hundreds of dollars for no training, and then guess what? After he zelled the guy the money, he never heard from him again, ever. And he said this happened last spring of 2023, I believe. I think that's what he meant. He might have meant spring of 2022. But it's absolutely crazy what people go through. And I'm curious, what have you gone through? What has been your training experience? And again, please do not put names of companies or instructors in the comments below. I don't necessarily want to see that at all, seriously. I don't build my business up by pulling down others, by saying, oh, this and that about these people and stuff. People make a reputation for their own. People talk amongst themselves. Clients and potential clients talk amongst themselves, and they know who does what and where they do it. I don't need you to be doing that in the comments below, so don't do that, please. But again, let me know, what has your experiences been, and how can I help you have a better experience going forward? Appreciate you guys. Stay safe. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 10,000 here in the next couple months.